The courtroom was unnervingly silent as 5-year-old Emily Carter stepped through the heavy wooden doors, her tiny hand clutching the leash of Rex, a German shepherd with a long jagged scar running along his side. Every eye in the room followed the small girl as she made her way toward the witness stand, her movements hesitant but determined. Judge Mark Sullivan, a seasoned man with years of legal experience, leaned forward slightly, observing the child with a measured gaze. He knew that the weight of the entire case rested on her fragile shoulders. Emily was the sole witness to an attempted abduction, a case that, if proven, could put a dangerous man behind bars for life. But there was one problem. Emily hadn't spoken a single word since the attack. Across the courtroom, Richard Hale sat at the defense table, his expression composed, even smug. A 45-year-old software engineer with an unassuming appearance, Hale had been arrested after an eyewitness placed him at the scene of Emily's attempted abduction. But his defense was solid. No physical evidence, no confession, and a witness who couldn't testify. His lawyer had already crafted a strategy that hinged on discrediting the traumatized child's ability to identify him. But then something happened. As Emily settled onto the witness chair, her green eyes met Richard Hale's. Her small fingers trembled as they made a subtle movement, barely noticeable to the untrained eye. It was a silent signal, one she had learned over weeks of therapy. Only two beings in the room caught it, Rex and Judge Sullivan. Rex's reaction was immediate. The moment Emily's fingers twitched in that silent plea for help, the dog's body went rigid. His ears pricked forward, his muscles coiling like a loaded spring. A low, guttural growl rumbled from deep within his chest, a sound of warning, of recognition. His golden brown eyes locked onto Hale, unwavering and piercing. The reaction sent a ripple of unease through the courtroom. A murmur spread through the spectators, whispers of speculation filling the air. Something about the dog's behavior struck a chord. This wasn't just a well-trained support animal reacting to his handler's distress. This was something deeper, something primal. Judge Sullivan's hand came down hard on the gavel, the sharp crack echoing like thunder through the room. "This court will take a 15-minute recess," he declared, his voice unusually urgent. Prosecutor Jenna Collins shot him a questioning look, but he didn't meet her eyes. Instead, he glanced at Emily, who clung to Rex like a lifeline. Something significant had just happened, and he needed to understand exactly what it was before the trial proceeded any further. As the courtroom emptied, Sullivan remained seated, his mind racing. He had seen many things in his years on the bench, but never had a therapy dog reacted with such undeniable certainty. What had Rex recognized? And, more importantly, what did that mean for the case? Outside in the hallway, Emily knelt beside Rex, her tiny hands gripping his fur tightly. Her mother, Sarah Carter, bent down beside her, smoothing back the child's curly hair with trembling fingers. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" she whispered. Emily didn't respond. She didn't need to. Her grip on Rex tightened, her small frame pressing into his side. Jack Monroe, the lead investigator on the case, watched from a few steps away, a grizzled FBI agent with decades of experience. Monroe had a gut instinct that had served him well over the years, and right now, his gut told him that whatever just happened in that courtroom was a game changer. He stepped closer to Judge Sullivan. "Something spooked that dog," he murmured, his voice low. "I'd bet my badge he recognizes Hale from somewhere." Sullivan exhaled slowly, his sharp blue eyes narrowing. "Then we need to find out where." Meanwhile, inside the defense's private room, Richard Hale sat across from his attorney, Michael Graves. The moment they were alone, the smug confidence on Hale's face twisted into something else, something colder. His fingers drummed against the table as he replayed the moment in his mind. The girl hadn't spoken, but the dog had reacted. "She knows," he muttered under his breath. Graves raised an eyebrow. "What?" Hale forced a small smile. "Nothing," he said, but his mind was already racing. That damn dog? He hadn't considered the animal would be a problem, but now, he realized, Rex might be the key to unraveling everything. As the 15-minute recess neared its end, Judge Sullivan straightened his robes and took a deep breath. He didn't believe in coincidences. And right now, something told him that Rex had just given them the most important clue of the trial. It was time to dig deeper. And for the first time since the case had started, he felt the tide shifting. Before the silence, before the courtroom, before the terror that stole her voice, Emily Carter was a vibrant chatterbox of a child. At 5 years old, she was the kind of girl who filled a room with endless stories, her bright blue eyes gleaming with curiosity and mischief. She loved fairy tales, stuffed animals, and the way her mother read bedtime stories with different voices for each character. She had never known fear until that fateful afternoon. It had been a perfect spring day, the kind where the scent of blooming flowers drifted through the air and the warm sun painted golden streaks across the backyard. Sarah Carter had been watching her daughter from the kitchen window, a smile tugging at the corner of her lips as Emily twirled in the yard, her pink dress flaring like a dancer's. David Carter was due home in a few hours, and she had been debating whether to start dinner or wait for him. It should have been an ordinary afternoon. It should have been safe. At 3:42 p.m., Sarah's phone rang. It was her sister calling from out of state. She stepped inside for what she thought would be a quick conversation. 4 minutes. That was all it took. When she returned to the yard, the gate stood ajar. A wave of cold terror shot through her veins. Her breath caught in her throat as she scanned the space where her daughter had been. Emily was still there, but she wasn't alone. A black van idled near the curb, its side door slightly open. A man knelt beside Emily, his smile unnervingly warm. "I have puppies in my van," he was saying, his voice smooth, practiced. "Special ones. They need a little girl to take care of them. Would you like to see?" Sarah's world seemed to slow, her instincts screaming before her mind could process what was happening. Her voice sliced through the air. "Emily!" The man's head snapped up. His smile vanished, replaced by something sharp and calculating. In an instant, he grabbed Emily's arm. Emily froze. She didn't scream. She didn't fight. She only stared at him with wide, unblinking eyes, as if some deep-rooted fear had locked her in place. Across the street, Martha Jenkins, a retired nurse walking her terrier, saw everything unfold. Her voice, weathered with age but strong with conviction, rang out. "Hey, get away from that child." The man hesitated. His grip loosened for a fraction of a second. That was all it took. Emily yanked her arm free and bolted toward her mother. Sarah scooped her daughter into her arms just as the van's engine roared. The tires screamed, screeching against the pavement as the vehicle sped away, leaving black streaks of rubber on the road. Sarah clutched Emily tightly, her heart pounding against her ribs. But Emily didn't cry. She didn't say a word. She only buried her face into her mother's shoulder and trembled. The police arrived within minutes. Detective Jack Monroe, a seasoned investigator from the FBI's Child Abduction Task Force, took immediate control of the scene. His graying hair and sharp brown eyes spoke of years spent chasing shadows, searching for missing children who were often never found. "He fits the profile," Monroe muttered, flipping through a worn notebook. 4 children have disappeared in the last 18 months. All approached near their homes, all lured by promises of puppies. His partner, Agent Lisa Grant, knelt beside Emily, her voice gentle but firm. "Sweetheart, do you remember what the man looked like?" Silence. Sarah brushed Emily's hair back, her hands trembling. "Honey, it's okay. You're safe now. Can you tell the nice officer what he looked like?" Emily's small hands gripped her mother's sweater tightly, but she didn't speak. She didn't nod. She didn't shake her head. It was as if someone had flipped a switch, shutting her voice off completely. "She hasn't said a word since I picked her up," Sarah whispered, fear creeping into her voice. "She just Won't talk. Agent Grant exchanged a look with Monroe. Selective mutism, she murmured. A trauma response. Monroe sighed, rubbing his temple. Without a statement, we don't have much. The description is vague. A man. A black van. It could be anyone. Martha Jenkins, who had witnessed the abduction attempt, stepped forward. I got part of the license plate, she said firmly. The first 3 letters. YKZ. Monroe's gaze snapped to her. That's something. Sarah, still clutching Emily, felt a surge of helplessness. Her daughter, once so full of life, had retreated into herself. And in the days that followed, it only got worse. Emily stopped playing. She stopped drawing. She refused to leave the house. She barely slept. And when she did, her nights were filled with silent nightmares. Nothing worked. One evening, Sarah sat across from David at the kitchen table, her eyes hollow from exhaustion. The therapist recommended a support animal, she said quietly. A therapy dog. David ran a tired hand through his hair. You really think that'll help? I don't know, Sarah admitted, but I'm willing to try anything.